Let's say you are happy with the finished result of your sequence and you're ready to share your work with the world. There are two ways that you can approach sharing your work and creating a new original media file that you can upload to social media or maybe deliver for theatrical release as a feature film or a feature movie. I'm going to show you the quick one in this lesson, and in the next lesson we'll look at the full export settings. So I have the timeline panel active. This is important. You can export directly from the project panel by selecting a sequence there as well, but I've got my sequence selected, and up at the top corner here I'm going to the quick export menu. Now in this menu I can specify a location. If you click on the blue words here, it'll take you to a Finder window or an Explorer window to choose another location. And then I've got the option to specify which preset I want to use. Now the quick export menu only gives you access to the presets. There's no detailed controls here over the export. That's in the full export mode. I'm happy with most of these presets. You'll notice that there's a preset for Vimeo, there's a YouTube preset. You'll notice that these are being specified as 720p. That's because Premiere Pro knows that my media is 720p. This is a 720p sequence. We do have the option to downres and upres here with these high quality presets too. It's quite common to deliver media as Apple ProRes 422HQ. This is a very high quality media format and codec. And it might be overkill if you're uploading to social media. The files are very, very big, but they're very high quality. Feature films are sometimes delivered using this format and codec. For our purposes, I'm interested in these adaptive high, low, and medium bitrate options. These will match the output format, that's the frame rate, frame size, and so on, to your original media. In this case, the original media is the sequence itself with its own frame rate and frame size settings. And I can specify if I want a low, medium, or high bitrate. Now, if you're not super familiar with compression and media codecs and transmission protocols and all of that, the simplest way to think of this is high will make a bigger file that will be better quality, low will be a smaller file that will be lower quality, and medium will be, I guess, somewhere in the middle. In my experience, you might as well go with the high bit rate, and the file type that's going to be produced is going to be an MP4 file, an H.264 codec, MP4 file with a frame size, that's here, a frame rate here, and a data rate, that's megabits per second, and a duration and an audio mix type as displayed here. In most cases, if you're just putting something up on social media, this is going to work just fine. I'm going to click Export. Premiere Pro is going to export the file. I get a notification to say that it's done. And I can now continue editing, or I can take that file and upload it to my social media platform. If you have particular requirements for the delivery of a media file when you're working on a project, you're going to want to use the full export settings. I'm going to click to make my timeline panel active, and I'm going to click up here on the expert mode. This takes me to a comprehensive set of options for creating new media files. Now, I'm not going to go over it in full detail here, but you'll notice on the left, we've got a number of destinations. You can select a particular social media account that you want to log into, and Premiere Pro will automate creating a media file that's ideal for that platform. And you can put in things like caption information types and so on. So you can build into your export also uploading to your social media accounts. This is quite useful if you're wanting to produce a whole batch of media to upload to your various different accounts. And you can just turn these off and on to access the settings for them. I'm focusing on a media file. I've got my file name here. Let's call this new version because we've already named a version of this, Evening Smile. Once again, you can click on the blue writing here to choose a location that you're going to deliver the file to in your storage. And then again, we've got a bunch of presets, and these should look pretty familiar. These are the same presets that we saw in the quick export menu up here in the top right corner. If I click on more presets, I get access to lots and lots and lots of presets that are available. Maybe if I do a quick search for ProRes here, there's a very good chance that a preset you need will be on the list. Just select the item and you can click OK to select that as your preset. That's actually a very, very high quality preset there. So if you are happy with the preset you're working with, I'm just changing this back to ProRes 422HQ. You've got some format options, and this is a bit funny as an interface. The preset menu will choose options for all of the various sections, general, metadata, effects, and so on, including the format. But once you've chosen a preset, you can change any of the settings that you want. So for example, I've got Apple ProRes 422HQ selected as my preset, but there's nothing to stop me choosing H.264 instead, and this now switches the preset automatically. So just think of the preset as a pre-selected group of settings that you can modify later. Down here under the video settings, I've got all kinds of controls. I can click more. I can specify if I'm going to use a particular profile. This is an H.264 preset. I've got controls for the management of color, the encoding settings, the target bitrate. There are a lot of settings available here. However, don't be worried about it. Don't be overwhelmed. You can always just choose a preset that works for you. For example, earlier we chose adaptive high bitrate, match source. It's probably going to be okay. Over on the right-hand side, we've got a preview of the output we can expect. We've got the source name, its video resolution. In brackets, that's the shape of the pixels. They're 1:1. Frame rate. There's no fields in this video. It's progressive whole frames of video, and the duration, audio, and so on. Down in the lower right corner, we've got the settings for the output file that we're going to produce. This is an important place to look before you click this export button at the lower right corner. This is telling me the file that's going to be made. And in particular, you're probably going to want to make sure that these numbers match. 1280 by 720 in this case, 24 frames per second, and so on. If they don't match, you should have a reason for that. That's not to say you won't have a reason for it, but don't do it accidentally. Generally speaking, you'll get better quality if you match the format of your original media. And if you don't have a reason to change it, you might as well keep it as it is. Now, if you do have a deliverable specification for your media file, it will specify things that you'll find in all of these menus. There's also a bunch of presets you can put in here, like you can put a text overlay with information like, this is a preview. And let's get rid of that. Let's have the prefix and suffix only, so you can use this to show that it's just a rough cut. There are all sorts of options here that should be given to you effectively on a piece of paper or in an email, so you can work your way down the list of settings and make sure the settings you choose here match the deliverable specification you've been given. Once they do, click Export, and Premiere Pro will create a new media file for you.